everyone, it's Renita. I'm not going to take too much of your time. There's just been some things that's been on my mind, and I wanted to take a minute and just speak to you about them. I've been studying in John chapter 15, and most of you know that I'm a bootleg chef, so I have a little bootleg garden that's out on my patio, and where I grow squash, and last year I grew sweet potatoes and blueberries and strawberries. I don't even like strawberries, but they were fun to grow. And onions and peppers, garlic, all kinds of things. And that I actually use in my kitchen. And one of the lessons that God taught me was about pruning. And John 15 is all about the process. And God speaks to us through Jesus. And he says, then I am the true vine. This is John 15. And my Father is the gardener. He cuts off every branch in me that does not bear fruit, while every branch that does bear fruit, he prunes so that it will be even more fruitful. You are already clean because of the word that I've spoken to you. Remain in me, and I will remain in you. No branch can bear fruit by itself. It must remain in the vine. Neither can you bear fruit unless you remain in me. So I just wanted to give you some quick encouragement about the process. That when you came into relationship with the Lord, that he began a process in you. You asked him for purpose. You asked him for plan. You asked him for a lot in your life. And the Lord is willing to give that to you. He says, ask and it shall be given unto you, right? Seek and you will find. Knock and you will certainly find the answer. That's a whole nother video. But I'm telling you that once you came into relationship with the Lord, that he started a process in you. And what happens is, for many of us, and it doesn't matter at what point you are in your life, you can be more successful than others. You may be less successful than others in your opinion. But we live in the upside down kingdom. So what is successful to God is not necessarily successful to everyone else. And the bigger the purpose, the bigger the process, the longer the process. And many of us have gotten weary in well-doing. We have gotten weary in doing the work that God has called us to do. And we have gotten weary doing it God's way, because it looks like people who are not necessarily doing it God's way are advancing and they're moving ahead of us. I'm speaking to you about the process, especially as it relates to an agricultural setting, because I have found this to be true for myself. As I have grown my plants, especially my pepper plants, because they grow big and grow great big beautiful peppers, but they are forever growing new growth. And in order to get the best fruit out of the pepper plant, I have to occasionally take my fingers and run it up the stem of the plant and eliminate the new growth, the new leaves that are trying to come out. And it's because the plant knows what to do. The plant grows, and it grows the way it should grow. Just like everything that God uses knows what to do instinctively, even if they don't do it. So I have to pull the new growth off so that my plant will put all its energy to bearing bigger and better peppers. It's the same for when the plant has dead spots or stems that are not bearing fruit. I go ahead and trim those dead spots off. I trim the plants that are not bearing fruit. I trim the broken plants. Do you hear me? I trim the broken plants, even if they're still green, so that my plants that are bearing fruit will bear more fruit. Beloved, you're in a process with God. And I know that you've gotten weary and well-doing in some areas. But listen, he desires for you to stay in the process. And yes, he is trimming away those things that serve no purpose in your life. So If it's the new growth of a new relationship that doesn't serve purpose in your life, guess what? He's pruning it. If it is the new growth of a new friendship that is not bearing fruit, he's pruning it. That's why some of you are struggling with the way your relationships are going, because people have walked beside you for many years, and then all of a sudden something happens, or they just fade away, or you both make a conscious decision that you're not going to be in relationship anymore. And listen, let it go. Even if God intends to reconcile that relationship for this season, let God trim your relationships. Let God trim your habits. Let God trim your ways. Let God trim your desires, because they are not serving you for the season. And guess what? Let's say you're really doing well. You're doing everything that God said. You're being obedient, and you find yourself in some very painful positions. God is only saying, I am pruning you back so that you bear fruit, and this time it will be fruit that lasts. So, beloved, I'm not going to hold you. I just wanted to encourage you upon today to stay in the fight, to stay in the process. I love you, and I pray God's blessing over your life. I hope you got something today. See you soon.